Okay, today we are playing a game on Hollywood. We will be playing Zenyatta on attack and Mercy and Brigitte on defense, and this is a ranked game, but I don't know what the SR is because it's in a replay and the email didn't say, so yeah, who knows. But because it's in the replay, look, still don't have to do video editing. We're Team 2, how about that? So we've got Winston, Widowmaker, Batista, Soldier 76, Zenyatta, and Diva. So we've got a dive comp. It's not that unusual to actually run a Widowmaker with a dive comp, and you wouldn't usually run like the Widow and the Soldier, because if you go like a dive comp Genji Widow, then the Widow is really good at finishing kills on people the divers have jumped on, or setting the divers up to kill somebody as well by just doing a bunch of damage to them just by hitting them, right? Doesn't even need to be a headshot if they're going to get finished off by the diver. So that's not weird to see, so it's unorthodox to run both the hit scan DPS on a dive comp, but is actually still fine. So anyway, who cares? Let's just start the game. So we've got to attack Hollywood first, and we've already learned that there's a Junkrat in the room to the left of us, and our teammates are sort of trying to deal with it. We're going to try and take matters into our own hands here when we figure out what's going on. So we likely feel safe doing this because there is an immortality field in here, but I still don't want to do this as Zenyatta because we are going into an area. Junkrat is much happier to fight us in that area than we are to fight him. Junkrat loves fighting people close to him in a confined location. It's almost impossible to miss your bombs at that point. Zenyatta, however, we don't want the bad men anywhere near us. So even though that's happening, the immortality field's in there, I don't want to deal with the Junkrat. That's for my bulkier friends to deal with. So Winston changed to Soldier, to Reinhardt, there we go, Jesus Christ. So now we just have a more generic, like, Deathball-esque comp, so whatever, no dramatic change. From our perspective anyway, as Zenyatta. So as soon as the Roadhog's looking at us, I'm just like, I don't want to be in his line of sight. As soon as he looks at me, because we see him this whole time, he hasn't hooked. He's got to be close to having his hook. We've just been looking at him for like 3 seconds, so he's got to be close. As soon as he looks to me, I'm getting out of line of sight, dude. I'm way too close, because we're going to get hooked if we're that close to him. And he has it. And hey, he had it. He would have been close to it even if he did use it, like, right before we saw him, so gotta be careful. We're really easy to get hooked to Zenya, because we're just generally easy to hit. So if Roadhog's looking at us, we gotta be ready to just, like, get behind cover. Try and bait the hook out of him before we, like, really deal with it, unless we've seen him use the hook, or we can just stand behind a shield or something, but neither such luxury right there. So we've built up Transcendence. The fight is still going pretty well, by all accounts. I am upset because both our team colors are extremely similar, and I'm colorblind, so I can barely tell the difference between them. So it's very upsetting to me to watch the silhouettes through the wall, because they could be either, from my perspective. They could be friendly, or they could be enemies. It's very upsetting. It's not as bad as the one we saw the other day on Busan. That game was, like, absolutely incomprehensible for me because of the colors. But, like, this is a little better, but still really hard. Don't be colorblind, you know? It's really upsetting. It's just very inconvenient and best avoided. So, we've managed to capture the point anyway, miraculously enough. Enemy team just... a bunch of people got picked off. Makes it easy, you know. Now they're just running out one by one to touch the point, because... might as well try, right? What's the worst that could happen? I could just end up, like, staggering myself and feeding the enemy team a bunch of ult charge, baiting my friends into using their ult, so... yeah, whatever, not a big deal. I'll go touch it. You never know, I might get play of the game and kill all 6 of them. That's how most games go. So we do have Trance. It's not... we don't have anything on the enemy team that we have to counter with Trance. They don't have anything, in fact, that we can really counter with Trance outside of Earth Shatter. And that's one of the harder ones to counter with Trance, just because you've gotta stop the people getting hit, but you've also gotta, like, body block the pin for whoever, because Ryan's gonna try and pin somebody when you use trance on Shatter, and you can just take the pin for them because you're invulnerable while you're using trance, but it's one of the more annoying ultimates to counter with Transcendence. So we've got that to maybe worry about, but outside of that, nothing really that we can realistically counter with Transcendence, so we can just use it more freely just to, like, keep people alive. If we see, like, the front line start going low, the fight just gets iffy in general, we can just use Trance without having to worry about it too much, because they don't have any of the really big ultimates to counter, like Graviton, Dragon Blade, Tack Visor, anything like that. They do now have a Mei. Someone just changed to Mei. I don't know who changed, but someone changed to Mei. Mei, Trance is pretty good for countering Blizzard, so we do now have to worry about that one more. Oh god, and we have to just worry about Mei in general. Oh, but we fucking got her. She's mad about that one. So we actually could have taken this opportunity to go up onto the high ground, because we could hop on this elevator right here. It's right next to us. Miraculously, we don't have to wait for the elevator on Hollywood. Isn't that incredible? I wish they would just replace the elevators with jump pads, dude. They won't, like, that's not gonna happen, but I wish they would just replace the elevators with jump pads. It would make life so much easier on this map for all parties involved. Anyway, they do have a Winston, so it's a little bit scary in that regard, but I'm prepared to go up there and just, like, see if I'm allowed to stand on it, you know? If the Winston doesn't jump up on me and I'm Zen, I'm having a great time up on the rooftops, being a long-range DPS, a long-range support. Tells you what I think about Zenyatta, huh? He's just a support that he's just a DPS that happens to do some healing and have a defensive ultimate, alright? Alright? We all know it. So we are, oh, Jesus Christ, relax, dude. We have isolated ourselves a lot by going up here. We should have been, trying to regroup with our team, because if we're isolated as Zenyatta, we're really easy to kill. And we've known that there's been a Winston over on their team. Now we do have to worry about how we use Trance a lot, because their Mei has just changed to Genji. So he's switching all over the place. Don't do what that dude's doing, by the way, because all that dude is doing is just resetting his ult over and over again. And Overwatch is pretty based around ultimates, so just, like, dropping your ult charge over and over again is really bad. Don't do that. Just kind of, like, stick with one for a little while. I hate when people are like, well, I died, so must be the hero pick. Couldn't be that I just fucked up. It must be the hero, so I better change to someone else now. But now we have to worry about how we use Trance, because we have to... Now they have a big ultimate to try and counter. They even have the nano boost as well. He just changed to Genji, and things are a little iffy over here right now, so we just rush over with the Trance to try and keep our teammates alive. Fair enough, we end up saving Ryan with it. And we're really close to capturing the checkpoint at this point, so it is worth using just to try and, like, guarantee we get it. If I didn't want to do it when we had the Immortality Field, I really don't want to do it when we don't have the Immortality Field. We're really easy to hit, and we're going into Junkrat's domain. And he's already spamming at the doorway, because he knows someone's going to try and come through there as well. Just not worth it. Not worth it at all. Let one of the big boys go in and deal with it instead. They're more equipped to breach the door against the Junkrat. So now we've reached pretty much the hardest point to capture. We can hear the tire coming, which is what we're looking for right now, and he ends up sending it around that way. How do you get over there? Because did he never die? He never died. Okay, I thought he did die. He never died. That explains a lot. Yeah, So, in hindsight, we could have intuited that it would come from behind us. You can actually hear it coming from more behind us now as well, but in hindsight, we could have known it was coming behind us, because Junkrat never died, and we last saw him on the right-hand side, so logically it's going to come from that way. It's not been that long, so he's unlikely to have moved all the way over to the left-hand side in that time. But just because you know where the tire's coming from doesn't necessarily mean any guarantee of actually killing the tire, but in hindsight, we could have known where it was. In hindsight, it's 2020, but We never saw him in the kill feed. It's not actually that hard to intuit it would have come from that way. I just wasn't paying attention, because I'm bad also. Anyway, so Winston's on us. Oh, Winston's dead. Never mind. Winston's not on us anymore. So this is a nice start for this point, because this is pretty much the hardest point to capture on the map. This just, like, death trench you've got to push up through is very inconvenient. We got the amplification matrix. Batista has used this, like, way too fucking early, because we can't even see anybody. Like, most of the time that that's up there, we can't actually even see anybody. So, by the time they appear, it's gone. So we are, like, this is a risky path we take, where we just, like, push up along the right-hand side. Like, we stand on the left-hand side and use Roadhog as a meat shield, and that's way safer. Presumably we want to try and hit people as they're coming out of the doorway, but it is a very risky maneuver to make, because suddenly we're just up on the front, right? Like, we're up front line with our front line right now. And we don't want to do that as Zenyatta. We want to be far away from the bad men, so things like that can't happen to us. We can just be sitting further back. We just heard Earth Shatter, by the way, which is why we've suddenly used Trance. Yeah, we want to be far away from the bad men. We don't want to be, like, going up to the front line unless we're using Transcendence, pretty much. So, don't want to push up that far. We didn't end up dying, so that's nice. But Batista had to use the Immortality Field to keep us alive. And it was just risky overall. Better off staying further back. Or, if we want to be a little closer, like, use Roadhog as a meat shield and just, like, spam through him. And you can achieve roughly the same thing while being safer. Just gotta be careful as Zenyatta, because we're such an easy boy to hit. We don't need to make it any easier for the enemy team. Zenyatta's hitbox, literally a floating box. Junkrat's using the tire. Yep, there it is. Pretty much has to be coming from that direction at this point. Junkrat's had more than enough time to get up on the high ground at this point. And, you know, here we go. We're gonna lose the round. Very sad. We did get it to basically the end of the track, which is, as far as I'm concerned, good enough. You don't have to, like, get all the way through. You know, as long as you get most of the way through, you've still got a good chance of winning. Especially on Hollywood, where you can feasibly win on any of the 3 checkpoints. Oh, praise the Lord, I can tell the difference between the team colors. Oh, what a time to be alive. The silhouettes look good, actually, don't they? With the red outline, and then the other color in the middle of it. That's good. I like that. Anyway, it just reminds me of, like, the CSGO UI, where it's, the color drains out of them as they're taking damage. That would be such a good change. If, like, you could see, if the silhouettes you see through the wall, they had, like, a thick outline, and then as they took damage, the color just drained out of the silhouette. That would be so good, dude. Especially as a support, right? Because your whole indication is they're wounded or they're below half. Those are your only two, that's the only delineation you get. Like, if I could see that this guy's got 1 health through the wall, I know not to even bother trying to save the guy, right? Oh, that'd be so good. That'd be so good. Oh, but no, tragically not to be. So why did we use Shield Bash right there? So they're just kind of like marching their way through the door. Ryan deserves to be dead, honestly, for doing that right here, but he got away with it, so... And we just kind of shield bashed for no reason right there. Now we don't have it to try and save Ryan here, because obviously he didn't fucking countercharge the other Reinhardt. God damn it. Damn, that was louder than I expected it to be. Holy shit, it's because there's a flap on the back of this thing. I hate Reinhardt players so much, dude. I swear to God, they'd rather get pinned than countercharge somebody. So, presumably, there's like... Well, if I countercharge him, I'm stunned on the ground, and I don't like that very much, then they're gonna hit me because I'm stunned. At least if he pins me, I'm all the way over there with my team now. This guy might have not reacted in time, but, like... The amount of times I've seen, just like the other team's Reinhardts, just charge across the whole fucking world and pin my Reinhardt. Like, dude, you had like fucking 20 minutes notice he was coming, and you still didn't do it! Oh god, it makes me so mad. It makes me so mad. Anyway, we just got clapped. What happened? Got hit by that. Alright, so we got hit by Ryan, because we've come over here to help with this. Got hit by Ryan, hit by a bomb, and purple at the same time. All very unfortunate. So, it is a respectable dream to come over and try and help our Ryan, or did our diva get pinned? No, it was Ryan that got pinned. Alright, it's just kind of a mess. Oh, he ended up, like, over there behind us suddenly. Okay. I was like, I just saw Diva. I was like, did Diva get pinned? Was I complaining for nothing? No. It's not me. It was the kids who were wrong. It is a respectable dream to come over and try to help with this Reinhardt situation. But I've played a lot of Brigitte, and you know what I honestly think when Ryan does something like that? I'm like, maybe I can go bully his backline now, because now I don't have to worry about walking through that. They still had the Orisa over there with him. So it wouldn't have exactly been easy, but given that our Reinhardt was suddenly no longer making space for them, Brigitte can get away with a lot of shit. Like, you can do a lot of just, like, running up and smacking people. Especially as they're... Oh, unlucky. This is why I just walk around with my shield up, basically all the time as Brigitte. Brigitte doesn't get slowed significantly when she has her shield up, and it just, like, stops stuff like that from happening. If it needs to regenerate, you know, you let it regenerate, obviously, but basically if I'm anywhere where I might get hit by bad men, I just have my shield up, to avoid getting one shot for any reason. Alright, okay, didn't remember that happening, so I was just kind of, like, shocked for a second. So, point gone, very sad. We went up when things were looking pretty bad by that point, and we ended up dying for it, so... You know, don't bother if the point's gone, but we lost the point regardless. Very sad times. What was I saying before? I was definitely partway through saying something and then got distracted. You can go up and just, like, fight people quite easily as Brigitte. Like, people are bad at focusing Brigitte down. As long as you aren't just, like, literally holding left click and W, going straight into them, like, you can get away with a lot of shit. You gotta be ready to, like, just put your shield up for a little bit while you're fighting people so that you can do some regenerating in there. And this is something that's worth doing as Reinhardt as well. You're fighting people, and you, our shield break. We're going up to try and, like, help with this Riptire. Oh, God. Don't want that up right now. We went to try and, like, help with the Riptire, it looks like. Definitely don't want to do that as Brigitte. We bring very little to help him with Riptire outside of Whip Shot, so don't bother. Just leave him to deal with that one. This is good to do with Reinhardt as well as Brigitte, is when you're fighting people, just, like, flick the shield up now and then while you're fighting in there as well. Just try and mitigate some of the damage that's coming in while you're fighting them. Very important for Brigitte as well, because sometimes you want to just, like, hold your shield up for a little bit in the fight so you can regenerate some hit points after proccing Inspire. But anyway, we've changed to Mercy now. We weren't exactly getting a lot of value out of the Brigitte. It's harder to get value out of Brigitte versus a team like that, because it is harder to get into them to start swinging. But if you can get into them, they have a lot of trouble getting rid of you again after that point, because none of them have got, like, hard crowd control outside of killing you, I guess. So, if you can get in, that's a great team to be playing Brigitte against. Brigitte as. Let me try that one again. If you can get into that team, it's a good time to be Brigitte, because they can't get rid of you. The issue is just getting to them to begin with. A little easier if you're playing defense, because they just inevitably will have to push into you. But we've changed to Mercy now. We've got good people to damage boost on our team, because we've got the Ashe and the Widowmaker. Ashe is one of the best people to damage boost in the entire game, because suddenly she gets to one-shot people, which is real fucking nice. And Ashe, like, because of the dynamite and everything, she generates ult charge really fast, so if she's got a Mercy damage boosting her as well, it ends up being real good. So I basically want to see us, like, tethered to Ashe pretty much as we possibly can be. Like, right here, we're just healing people that are at full health right now. We healed them right there, but now we could be going over and damage boosting the Ashe, and we're just healing these people that are already healthy. And right here, we're, like, not really getting any value. We heard attack visor, so I think we're a little afraid to push up, but he's dead right now. But be a damage boosting someone. Like, we weren't getting much value out of that period, period right there. That's our dynamite, yes. It was really loud. Like, it was really loud dynamite, so I was like, it's enemy dynamite. No, it's our dynamite. So we've come, like, real far up with these people. We didn't need, oh, Jesus Christ. We didn't need to go that far up to be tethered to them, and we could have been safer, but, I mean, we got away, so whatever, right? But we did go pretty far up with them right there. I don't like doing this, because we just, like, swing in front of the entire enemy team. It's unfortunate that Orisa uses halt right there, so it ends up snatching us out. But, like, just, like, making that kind of maneuver right in front of the enemy team is, like, pretty risky. And I know what the enemy team is, right? So I know that they aren't got any, they aren't got any divers. Great English. They haven't got any divers, and Ryan's pretty far away from the right now. So rather than do this, like, this is the most direct line, but, like, just, like, flying straight in front of the enemy team as Mercy is very scary. And something like that can happen just randomly. I'd rather swing around the left side and do it from the doorway instead, rather than GAing straight to the guy. Because it just doesn't look like he's in that much risk, and I would like to mitigate... Jesus Christ. I want to mitigate my own risk as much as possible, because you gotta be real safe as Mercy, right? And we ended up having to use... Well, we probably didn't have to use Valkyrie, but we used Valkyrie because we felt very scared, presumably right afterwards. And we didn't get a massive amount of value out of Valkyrie, but our teammates also just got suddenly pretty clapped, which is difficult for us to deal with as Mercy, unfortunately. We could be sitting further back right now, like going up with the Mercy and the Genji, or the Mercy and the Genji. The Tracer and the Genji is very risky as Tracer, unless we have somebody in line of sight we can go back to when something like this starts happening. So I don't really want to go up with them. I'd rather wait until more of our team is regrouping with us, and then we can go up more safely. Because Tracer and Genji, they'll just leave us behind, and if we don't have anybody else to go to... Oh god, excuse me, Jesus Christ. If we don't have anybody else to go to, we're fucked, dude. We're fucked as Mercy. So we ended up dying. We've managed to get back in time to rejoin the fight. There, Zen is using Trance right now, and Reinhardt's just swinging in anyway. So he's just been taking a big chunk of damage. He was getting some ult charge out of it at least, but like, oh god. Easy, not even close, dude. There was never a doubt in my mind we'd make it out. There is a trap right there. Gotta be careful about that one if we swing across again, because, oh god, don't want to swing across over a fucking Junkrat trap. So we're trying to follow Tracer. I don't want to follow Tracer. It's not worth following people like that as Mercy. They'll leave you behind in a heartbeat. And, like, if she just, like, does something like Triple Blink, Pulse Bomb, Recall, well, we might follow her out and then just, like, get left behind with nobody to go right next to the enemy team. I don't like following flankers as Mercy. They're extremely likely to leave you behind, so, like, don't even bother. If you know the guy, then you can sort of rely on them a little bit more, but, like, otherwise, don't bother. We're damage boosting the Reinhardt right now. I'm pointing this out because it's more productive to be damage boosting one of the people that's got a gun rather than the Reinhardt. It is sad that, you know, you have to be tethered, you have to be damage boosting when he throws the fire strike to get any damage boost on it. That's sad. Very sad that they changed that about Mercy, but it's just more productive to be damage boosting the people that have guns rather than the Reinhardt hoping he gets the fire strike in there. It's just overall, it'll end up being more impactful usually to pick the people with guns. Tragically, we don't have anybody great to damage boost anymore. Pretty much the best one we've got is Batista. If Genji's nearby, he's fine, but that's kind of it. So Mercy, in my opinion, has become a drastically worse pick now as a result of this. I'd rather... Oh, now here comes Bastion. Oh, problem solved. Perfect person to damage boost. If this person stayed on Tracer, I would have rather been playing Ana, because then we can nano boost and like we can do our own damage. If you haven't got anybody to damage boost on Mercy, I'm just like, what's the point of playing Mercy, you know? But now we've got a Bastion, who is a great person to be damage boosting. We can hear Riptire right now, so it's very scary to be poking our face out. I don't even want to be tethered to anybody, really, just to try and hope that he can't find us to begin with, but we end up just all getting hemmed into the point regardless, and killed. So, very sad. Well, let's see if the YouTube algorithms figured it out, because yesterday was absolutely atrocious. Oh, nope, this got sent to me in the email as a file, right, so it's not going to show me any recommendations, of course, I forgot. So, over in the email, we got a couple questions. So, a few questions about the VoD. I have recently been trying to lower my sense to arm aim more. Is my aim overly bad or jittery compared to what you have seen? No, it seemed about fine. You can really tell when people are, like, fidgety or jittery, because it really is just like they're shaking like a fucking leaf the whole time. It didn't stand out to me. It seemed about fine. Average for people. Didn't seem overly jittery or bad. Someone like Zen as well, you can do it just like a lot of spamming into the general area of the enemy team, and like that's fine also. So not necessarily a super precision benefits him, but like you don't need to be particularly precise on Zen a lot of the time, to be honest with you. But no, it wasn't overly bad or jittery from what I saw. Next up is, also, I know you say Mercy has low agency over the game, but I had to swap off Bridge due to my ass being handed to me. Was the Mercy switch good, or would you recommend a different pick? The Mercy, I think, was fine because we had, like, really good people to damage boost at the time. At the time we switched, we had Widow Ashe. Ashe is one of the best people in the game to damage boost. And Widow is also a good damage boost as Mercy. So I think Mercy was fine at the time. When they switched to both flankers, I would have rather been playing... we had Batista, so we had a main healer, so pretty much any healer would have been fine at that point. Zen synergizes really well with flankers, so he would have been fine. Ana works well just with Batista in general, and works well with Genji, so Ana or Zen would have been the two I would have gone with at that point, but the person ended up changing to Bastion as well, so the Mercy pick ended up being good again. It's for me, picking Mercy is just extremely dependent on, do I have anybody good to damage boost? Because if you don't, I'm always just like, Mercy's just really underwhelming if you can't really leverage much of damage boost, because like, she's outdone by supports in like all other respects, right? Like her healing is very low compared to the other healers. She doesn't get to contribute her own damage. Her utility is not as good as Batista or Ana. And she gets out-healed by basically all other main healers. But, like, if we're talking healing, then Moira is, like, the highest healer. So, for me, picking Mercy is just, like, really, like, is there anyone good to damage boost? Sometimes you can pick Mercy, like... People will still pick Mercy as a main healer, and that can end up being really risky, because if your team ends up being, like, Mercy Zenyatta, that ends up being really low healing output as a team. So Mercy ends up being a risky pick as a main healer, just because her healing output is so low. She can really easily get out DPS'd by the enemy team, and she just can't keep up with them. So she ends up getting risky in that situation, but with this situation, Batista was the other healer, so healing output's not an issue, and when we switched, we had two good people to damage boost, so it was fine. It's just when the two flankers appeared, it got less good for me. And lastly, the junk was shitting all over us all game from behind. What adjustments should I have made to my play to help with this? So it's difficult for most healers to deal with that kind of thing, because most healers are not good at dealing with flankers in general. And Junkrat is an unorthodox flanker, certainly, but the principle is the same. As Brigitte, we could have done something about it. We just have to be like... The thing with, I think, with how we were playing Brigitte is pretty much just that we weren't, like, respecting the enemy team. We were just, like, walking around and got clapped by a bunch of things randomly, like, coming back, didn't have our shield up, just got slapped in the face and killed, you know? We ran over to try and help our Rhine, which is fine, but then we got hit by a few things at the same time, so just, like... Which, I mean, what we were doing was, like, justified as far as Brigitte plays go. We were trying to help our main tank, which is fine. The mistake there, more than going to help him, was the fact that we used Shield Bash when we didn't need to, which meant we couldn't countercharge their Rhine when he pinned ours. So we ended up in that situation over in the corner, but if we had Shield Bash, we could have just, like, countercharged Rhine, and we would have never even been in that corner to begin with. But because we went over to help him, and we just happened to get hit by a hammer swing, a Junkrat bomb, and Anna's grenade at the same time. So it's kind of unlucky at the same time, where you got hit by all 3 things at the same time, but... if we were Brigitte, we could have done something about the Junkrat. It's just we changed because we got killed a bunch of times. As Zenyatta and Mercy, there is basically nothing you can do about that except just acknowledge the fact that he's probably going to be behind you at some point. So play cautiously and just basically keep your head on a swivel looking for the guy. So that you can, if you're Zen, you can, like, fight the guys. Junkrat's pretty easy to hit as far as, like, DPS models go, right? So Zen can fight the guy off if he's got a range advantage, but you've got to be careful. Like, we did a lot of, like, running up to the Junkrat, like, as Zen, right? So we've got to stay really far away from the Junkrat, which means... just, like, keeping our eye out for the guy, basically. Like, alright, so we've seen that Junkrat likes to get behind us. He's probably not going to stop doing that. So I just have to be ready and aware and be looking for the guy so that when he gets behind us, I can, like, back away and try and shoot at him and help my team deal with him. Mercy, she can't do anything except avoid the guy, basically. And Brigitte can do stuff because she's just good at fighting flankers in general. And Junkrat's not a great flanker. It's a little scary to approach the Junkrat as Brigitte because he can hit you around your shield and he'll break your shield quickly. But as long as you are, again, aware of the guy and, like, watching for him, you can, like, see Junkrat is getting in position and just kind of head him off at the pass, and then just as soon as he appears, just clap the guy, right? So it's mostly a matter of being like, well, if he's gonna do it, you've got to be looking for the guy. And that's, like, the biggest adjustment you can make, is just like, well, he's doing it. I've got to be ready, and then, like, fall back away from him if I can't fight him toe-to-toe, which... the only support that's going to be able to do that is Brigitte, so everybody else, you're just kind of avoiding the guy, right? Especially as Zen, we want to fight the guy from far away, rather than right up close. So that's, like, the biggest adjustment we could have made, is just basically being way more cautious about the situation, because we were not really people that could fight him ourselves. As a support, the biggest thing we could do about that personally is just, like, communicate with our team that it's happening, basically. Like, Junk's flanking us, Junk's going around wherever the fuck he's going around, right? Like, Junk's going around behind us on the right, something like that. Junk is behind us right now. That's, like, the biggest thing you can do as a support, is just, like, call out that it's happening, basically. If you're not playing this one support, they can just fight him toe-to-toe, pretty much. So, there you go. That's about what I got for you. Not super helpful, but it's not the support. Supports are not well-equipped to deal with that kind of situation, just generally. Especially the ones we were playing throughout most of this game. So, there you go. So, thank you very much for watching. If you did, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you felt I answered any of your questions from the email inadequately, please let me know, and I will try to expand further. If you haven't already, you could join our Discord and ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them, or just shitpost with us. I've started streaming on Twitch Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 8 p.m. EST till midnight EST. There's a link to the channel in the description. And if you managed to make it all the way through the video, and somehow still enjoyed it, I was about to just rewind there. If you somehow managed to make it all the way through the video, and somehow still enjoyed it, please like the video and subscribe for more content of middling quality in the future, and I hope you found the video helpful.